I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so we've got need a motion to execute the minutes of December 14th.
So moved. Second.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner Claypool?
Yep.
Commissioner Spudler?
Right.
And then I'm reporting on the financials from December 29th, resolution 16 or 17-162. There were some appropriation transfers for the Department of Water Resources regarding relating to debt retirement, and there was one supplemental appropriation for debt retirement that was just $2,500, and the other ones were just transfers within existing appropriations. Okay. So I approved that on the 29th.
Yep.
Okay.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve the encumbrances to be considered by the Board of Commissioners at their first meeting in January 2018 to be effective January 1st, 2018.
So moved. Second.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner Claypool?
Yep.
Commissioner Spudler?
Hi. Good morning, Adrian.
Good morning. Okay, today's financials include a cash transfer from the general fund to County Home to pay a portion of their 2018 funding that we're responsible for. Encumbrances include all the contracts and purchase orders for various departments to start the new year, as well as travel requests from the Clerk of Courts for her monthly association meetings in Columbus for the year, and a travel request from the Recorder's Office for an association meeting in Columbus in February. Just a couple of the vouchers of note, $73,849.81 from the Engineer's Office to Cargill Incorporated Salt Division, probably because they're going through a lot of their salt, and $60,415 to Grade Line for culvert extensions, and $21,684.83 from Water Resources to GPD for engineering expenses for the Troy Oaks Force Main and Auburn Corners expansion project. And all the vouchers are just the carryover vouchers, the ones from left over from 2017 that the departments paid with their carryover balances on their contracts.
Okay.
All righty.
I had one question, actually comment that I brought up to Dave this morning. I'm looking at
JFS.
The JFS 922, 30,000 to Northwoods Consulting Partners for scanning. It looked a little high to me. Dave was educating me that they've got a pretty high-tech scanner, which the folks in
It's
the
an imaging
state
system that's actually based on just went around. They had the scanning company based on the west side of Cleveland. It's a very well-known document imaging company. But Northwoods is an integrator. It uses that core software platform and integrates with a couple of their core applications for indexing and all that stuff. So it's pretty high-end software, but it makes them a lot more productive. But I'll talk to Mike and we'll get you a number where that 30,000 comes from.
I thought maybe it would be worth at least asking the question.
On base is the name of the core
because it looked high for scanning, but my scanning can mean a lot of things, so. Be interesting to ask the question.
Yeah,
I'm sure they deal with a lot of paperwork there that they need to be able to.
Well, they were able to take a whole room that used to be file room, paper, and made it into offices because they've integrated scanning to a very high degree down there because of the volume of paper. You come to the front desk there and you want to apply for benefits, and you bring the documentation they've asked for, say it's pay stubs or bank statements or whatever, and they literally have a little scanner right there at the reception desk, and you hand over your paperwork. They run it all through the scanner, so now it's in their system, and then they print out a thumbnail receipt that basically, here's a little copy of what you just gave us. It's all dated, so it's very efficient.
It's such a large number. It'd be interesting to see if it's a contract and if
I think it's probably the maintenance agreement. It's probably the maintenance agreement for the software.
If it's a scan if it's a cost per scan, then maybe there's a cheaper way to do it. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's worth a
question.
Quick question.
We'll get you some information.
On base?
On base.
Is that it?
On base is the core software. Yeah, it finally popped in my head, but yes, that's what it is.
So the Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve and execute Resolution Number 18-001, itemizing the financials for the meeting of January 4th, 2018.
Make that motion?
Second.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner Claypool?
Yep.
Commissioner Spudler?
Right. Okay. Then,
This is an application.
Thanks for the reminder.
wanna just read, is anybody here?
Thank you.
No.
You want to just go ahead and read that now?
The Auditor's Office ADP Board is requesting the Board approve the submission of a credit card application to the Geauga Credit Union for a visa that will be used for allowable expenses per the ORC. To date, the Auditor's Office has never had a credit card in their office, so this is the first one that they're applying for.
Is there a limit to that, or what, for how much?
This is just the application to be
Oh,
submitted
okay.
for the card. Nothing has been returned. Nothing has been submitted as of yet.
So, just for clarification, to be used by anybody to, I mean, what is the process here? So we approve the application, what are the particulars in terms of who can use it, what the dollar amounts and so on? So
Well,
when do we see that?
You will see that once.
See that.
Well, Ron sent it to me as from the auditor's office, and when I looked at it, it has Alan Keener, Al Von Torsick, Ron, and Frank listed as users on the application for the credit union. And I called him back and I asked him about the ADP board. And so that's why the motion reads that it's for both of them. Under the ORC, they are allowed to use credit cards to cover expenses dealing with technology. And to this point, they hadn't been doing that. And so that's what this application is for, this is just to submit the application to the credit union to apply for the visa. And then once it's approved, then that will come back to you again for approval, just like the rest of the ones that are in the stack for today, to approve who's using them and for what dollar amount.
So all of the particulars in terms of how it will be used, what the dollar
It's not here yet. They're just applying
Oh.
for the card.
All right, well,
So do I have a motion?
So, I guess, I just have some question though. Wouldn't the ADP board be able to go do this on their, wouldn't they be able to do this on their own?
Well, that's why I asked Ron when it hit my desk why it was from the auditor's office when the ADP board was listed.
Yeah.
And because they're under the auditor's office, that's why it's joint.
Yeah. I don't necessarily have a problem with it. The only thing I'd like to see is just some more details or information as to, I guess if we're just approving the process of submitting an application.
That's all you're doing
Okay,
today.
Okay.
Once the credit union approves them for the visa, it will come back before you to approve its use and set a per maximum monthly amount,
Okay.
and for those individuals that will be allowed to use it.
Okay. All right.
and so I'm sorry, one more question here. So is the request coming through the auditor's office or coming from the ADP board?
It came from the auditor's office, but the application lists both auditor's office and ADP do it staff, and so that's why the motion is joint.
So it's not the board particularly, it's the staff that reports to the ADP board. It's going to be okay.
Let me ask you guys, do you feel more comfortable if we bring this up at the ADP board and then see what they say, or do you want to hold off, or do you want to do it today?
I would like to see, obviously before we move forward, if it's going to come back around again and we're going to have terms and limits and all that type of stuff, I don't have a huge problem with approving this today, but without that, I wouldn't be comfortable knowing who and how much.
Right.
Yeah, they don't even know what they don't even know what the credit limit is yet, because they're just applying.
Normally,
for it.
I would expect to see a list of controls associated with an application. Okay, so we're going to make an application. Here's how we're going to use it: the dollar limits, who's going to use it, so on and so forth. This is kind of open-ended, so I'm a little uneasy about it. The reason for starting the questions. If it's just an application and we have an opportunity then to see the controls, okay, I'm willing to live with it personally, but that's my take on it anyway.
And what ignited this to just come out now?
It's just, I guess the next question is just due to a lot of the spending that's going on in the ADP board and the auditor's office, and in our current situation,
Well,
cleaning up.
You bring up an interesting point. Is that circumventing the ADP process, the approval process? So if somebody can just go out and run and do a credit card,
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I
I'm
don't,
looking at
it could have been the case where the previous director was making some purchases and being reimbursed, and now,
Maybe it's
other
best-
people don't want to do that.
You
They
wanna
wanna
just
follow
wait?
the process.
Maybe it's best we get an explanation, say either from the auditor's office or the.
Well, you have an ADP board meeting on Monday.
Yes.
You want to just wait?
So why don't we just hold off
We'll
on
table
that
it.
till
I'll bring
then?
it up at the ADP morning then.
Table
Okay.
it. So we'll just table that
Okay.
until then.
Okay.
Okay, the next one is Geauga County Engineer.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. How's the salt doing?
Good.
We 3/4.
We're still doing well with
Filled
that
to the
new
top.
building. We're
Stockpile.
stockpiled. We're doing all right. I mean, we've got material coming in and we're using it. And
What about the township?
they're coming in spreading. I know a lot of them are. I was talking with. I forget who I was talking with, but they're starting to see.
Put a dent in it?
Yeah, Russell Township is who I was talking with.
Mm-hmm.
So
So
who
I
do you
asked
have
them
over there that pulls from your building?
I don't know everybody. I know there's
see.
probably half the townships come in and grab some, the smaller ones.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, we're plowing for a couple of them now, so we kind of picked that up from that side.
Yeah.
So.
So I see ODOT is just dumping salt on the road. It's pretty unbelievable to me. So,
It's that time of year.
So is the price, where is it compared to this summer?
That I can't answer. I don't know the information
Yeah,
on that.
yeah.
That's usually
I'm sure it's
Joe's
gone
and
up quite a
Frank's
bit.
and,
Yeah.
We'll see after this year. I mean,
Yeah.
We're going to use a lot.
Yeah.
It's getting cold.
Yeah.
Keep the trucks running and warm.
Well, they're doing a good job.
So.
Appreciate it. Okay.
Item 6 on here is our annual resolution to approve us to undertake projects under force account. Basically, that's where we do an estimate on the job, and if it exceeds an amount, we would have to bid it out. But if it's something that falls within the realm under force account provisions for the ORC, we can perform the work on our own.
Any questions? The County Engineer's Office is requesting the Board approve and execute Resolution Number 18-002, authorizing the County Engineer to undertake projects using force account in certain cases for the year 2018.
So move.
second.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner Claypool?
Mm-hmm.
Commissioner Spiller?
Right.
Thank you. Stay
Thank
warm.
you. Stay warm.
Be safe.
Be safe. Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
I thought you were on vacation or something.
What's that?
What are you doing here?
Recreation.
I like that coat too.
Oh,
Huh? UPS.
oh yeah.
I gotta get you a new logo though.
Yeah, well, yeah, I tried to glue one on that said Geauga County.
Yeah.
And it didn't take. Well,
There you go.
Ah, there you go.
There you go.
we're at number 7. Hopefully this will be the last part-time driver we hire for a couple of months anyway. Although I do have a guy who told me the other day he's going to be another full-time guy, and our part-time guy's retiring. But just hiring this last guy, Mr. Sam Misery. He's a retired gentleman, got a good background. He's been through all the approvals already as far as ODOT and all that good stuff for DOT and everything. So 1 year probation, just like the normal thing. So.
Okay.
The Transit Department is requesting the Board approve hiring Sam Misery to the position of part-time driver number 2210-1 to be effective January 8, 2018 at the rate of $13.57 per hour with a 1-year probationary period. This offer of employment is contingent upon the successful completion of the required pre-employment conditions.
Make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner Claypool?
Yes.
Commissioner Spiller?
Right.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
And ladies.
Be safe.
Oh, yeah.
Alrighty, Jerry.
Morning, Jerry.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. How are you?
Okay, I'm tired.
Yeah. Tough getting back into gear, right?
Yeah.
Especially when it's this cold.
Yeah.
No, and having 2 people at home with broken legs doesn't help that.
Yeah.
either, so-
2?
Yeah, my wife and daughter. So
What happened?
Back-to-back weekends, my wife fell down our back steps taking our dog out, and the following weekend, my daughter was at an ice skating party and fell and broke her leg.
How old is your
Oh,
daughter?
Jesus.
She's 8.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was a fun Christmas and
Yeah.
a fun New Year.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
So,
I've heard breaking, both legs, one person, but, 2 people. Yeah. Wow, that's too bad.
Okay, well, our first item on the list here is the request permission to promote Samantha Harris, who's currently our assistant accounts clerk. She helps with our accounts payable and accounts receivable to the fiscal specialist position, which was the replacement for Adrian, since you guys stole him from me.
Yeah.
Thank you again for that.
That's good.
So this is just to promote her into that new fiscal specialist position.
Okay.
The Department of Water Resources is requesting the board approve the promotion of Samantha Harris to the position of Fiscal Specialist number 2337 to be effective December 31st, 2017 at the rate of $18.73 per hour with a 180-day probationary period.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner Claypool?
Yep.
Commissioner Spudler?
And the next item is just permission to advertise for an administrative secretary to replace Samantha's position.
Okay.
The Department of Water Resources is requesting the board grant permission to advertise for the position of Administrative Secretary number 2319. This position will remain posted until filled.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner Claypool?
Yep.
Commissioner Spudler?
And then our final item here is in regards to our Bainbridge water system and our master meter agreement with the City of Cleveland for Cleveland Water. We're looking to loop our water line that's on Bainbridge Road down to 306 and then back down Chagrin Road to tie back into the water system there to create a loop. And that's being instigated, I guess, by Bainbridge looking to possibly get some water to their police station and fire station and town hall because they're continually having problems with their water system there and being public buildings and serving the maximum amount their public water system also. So they're looking to be able to get off of having to deal with the EPA requirements also, but just to also have our public system.
Okay. Yeah, they've been having some issues down there with that. Yeah,
they've been having that for a number, I think since I started.
Yeah.
Here at the county.
Well, it improves reliability. Improves reliability of your system.
It definitely
anyway.
helps our system too.
With that loop,
So,
right? Yeah. Okay.
The Department of Water Resources is requesting the board approve and execute the memorandum of understanding between the City of Cleveland and Geauga County regarding the 10th expansion of service area to the master meter agreement for the Bainbridge water service area.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner Claypool?
Yep.
Commissioner Spudler?
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Any pipes freezing or anything?
Nope.
No? Good. You're up. You're prepared.
I got one now that I said that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, Jerry. Okay, and then, is that lower or higher? Is there any change in that?
It went up 1 cent
Okay.
from 17.
All
So the
right.
Commissioner's Office is requesting the board establish the gas mileage reimbursement at the current Internal Revenue Service rate of 54.5 cents to be effective January 1st, 2018 for the departments under the direction of the Geauga County Board of Commissioners.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner Claypool?
Yep.
Commissioner Spudler?
Right.
I don't know how they figure that out.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's all over the place.
That's what they give me.
Up, down, up, down.
This is the breakdown that they give you.
Yeah.
For medical or moving
Yeah,
purposes,
yeah,
it's 18 cents, and for
Okay.
service of charitable organizations, it's 14 cents. They all went up a penny. So the Commissioner's Office is requesting the board approve and authorize the President of the Board to execute the updated accounting forms authorization form for the Commissioner/Archives and Records Center. This is for the adding Claire onto the signatures. Have a motion?
So moved. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Second.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner Claypool?
Yep.
Commissioner Spudler?
Hi.
And just correcting the term for Mr. Engel. We had it as through 2021, and it's actually through December of 2020.
For the Planning Commission?
Mhm. So the Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board amend the motion from December 28, 2017 to correct the term to read reappoint Tracy Engel to serve on the Planning Commission for the term January 1st, 2018 through December 31st, 2020.
Okay. So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner Claypool?
Yep.
Commissioner Spudler?
Hi.
Okay. Now we get to move into the big topics.
Okay, so that takes care of that. And then 13. Okay, then on the reorg,
Isn't it copies of the org packet if anybody is interested. It's rather, there's I think 6 copies of it, if anybody's interested.
I know we did this through our work session. Pretty much.
You still have to formally take action to appoint president, vice president.
Okay.
The meeting schedule, I can point out what changed if you want. And then once you basically get through to your board appointments, your credit card authorization, I vamped.
Okay.
So that you just have to take action to add the additional departments to the maintenance, and then this motion here encapsulates the remaining 3 pages, so we don't have to read it.
She keeps getting more efficient. There's
When
still
I-
a lot you got to look at.
When I started as clerk, there was 12 pages. We're down to 6.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
I know when I first came on board, I was like, this is crazy. It was like,
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of it's required by law, but she's done the best she can.
No, it's
to,
good.
Minimize the impact.
I keep trying to
Streamline it here.
streamline and make it smaller and make it easier. And
so then how do you, so then we need a motion for the 3 positions on top for to start this off. Is that what we need to do?
well, you could do the first 2 together, and then we'll
okay.
do the third one.
Yeah.
So we'll do
So,
this one.
so then I'd make a motion for, I don't know if I could make my own, for my own myself.
Let me take the lead on that. Let me ask you a question first. Can we make a broad motion to approve? I've read everything that's on this first page. I don't have any issues with any of it. Can we make a broad motion to approve what's on the first page?
I would rather do the first and second one together and then do your meeting schedule third, because if we have to make an amendment to number 3 after next week, after the planning commission meeting, because the change is
Define
specific.
number 3 for me. You're talking about
That's
the schedule.
if you look at the list, the first 2 is to appoint Ralph as president, and the second motion is to appoint Tim as vice president for the year. And then the third motion here is to adopt the commissioners meeting schedule for 2018.
Oh, I got you.
And there was a change to that.
All right.
So that, if we, based on what happens next week at planning commission meeting, we may have to amend this again. So I'd rather do the first 2 together if you want, and then do the third one, and then we can move through
So
the rest.
I move. I'll take Ralph off the hook. I'll move to make Ralph president of the board.
So, second.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner Claypool?
Yes.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
And then I move to make Tim vice president.
Second.
And he gets to sit next to Ralph.
Can I still sit over here?
You have to sit in the middle.
I'm gonna miss you, man.
You don't have to move. You don't have to move today. You can stay where you are today. I won't make you move.
Yeah,
Weekend Dave's here.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Yes.
Commissioner Claypool?
Yes.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Okay. And
Well,
then
I appreciated sitting here the first year because all the questions I could ask, you could help me with that.
Sure.
Jay didn't have that advantage the first year.
Right.
So.
Yeah, you're on an island. Yeah. Right.
number 3 is your meeting schedule for the year, and the only change that was made was to the number 2 that's listed, where it says every Tuesday at 9 a.m. It says now, except for the second Tuesday of the month, that will start at 9:30 a.m. to accommodate for the planning commission meetings. So which we set when we set the whole schedule last week, but depending on what they decide to do at planning commission, if they decide to make a change, we may have to amend this and then amend
That's
the
all right.
schedule. So
Yeah, we'll just go forward with this. I think it'll work.
I do too.
Hopefully, I mean, that should give us enough time.
I think so.
We can always modify it. if
Yeah.
we need to, so.
Yeah.
yeah. So
Okay.
do I have a motion
I'll
for
make
your
the
meeting
motion.
schedule for 2018?
Second.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner Claypool?
Yep.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Good.
Moving to number 2. The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve the appointments of members of the Board of County Commissioners to the boards and committees for 2018 as follows. Changes include the president stayed the same with Ralph remaining as president. The vice president changed to Tim, so that changed some of the alternates on some of the boards, but based on some of the feedback that I received from you at the work session. So I have ADP board as Claypool as primary and Lennon as alternate. Board of Revision, Lennon is primary, Claypool as alternate. Community Corrections, Claypool, Lennon. CIC is all three of you. Courthouse Security stayed the same as Lennon and Claypool. Family First is Lennon and Claypool. Financial Review and Report Committee is president is primary and the alternate is now Lennon. Agricultural Society is all three of you. Solid Waste Policy is president and Lennon. Board of Directors is all three of you. Health District Advisory Board, president and Lennon. Investment Advisory Committee, Spitaleri and Lennon. Microfilming Board, Lennon, Claypool. NOACA, your alternates remained the same as Joe Cattell for Spitaleri, Linda Berhenny for Claypool, and Shane Hajar for Lennon. NOCCOG is Claypool, Lennon. Planning Commission is all three of you. Portage Geauga Juvenile Detention Center is all three of you. Records Commission is President and Lennon, and Revolving Loan and Local Revolving Loan is Lennon and Claypool.
The only one that I'd have a question on is the Policy Committee for the Solid Waste. Given that there are a number of things in the works relative to setting policy and creating a 5-year plan, and I've been on that
So you
part
want
of
to
that
stay?
process. I'm thinking it might make sense for consistency standpoint. I mean, I don't really care. It's just another meeting you go to, but relative to maintaining consistency in the 5-year plan and everything,
I don't
would be
see
the one
any
change.
issues.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, so the primary is required to be the president, but
Right.
we'll leave you as alternate. So I'll change that from Lennon to Claypool.
okay.
Yeah, and I'd
And
just
I've been
like to,
attending for
I'd
rounds,
just
so.
like to commend you on all the effort you put into that this year and gotten that thing straightened away. I mean, that was my first meeting as a commissioner I went to, and that thing was a mess.
Yeah.
A mess. And I think you guys have done a really good job of getting that thing back on its feet again, and we still have a ways to go, but we got it in the right direction.
For
you
sure.
know. So
Well, I appreciate
yeah.
the kudo, and
Yeah.
like you said, we got a lot of work to do. It has been a challenge. We have
Yeah.
some ongoing challenges, but
Yeah.
it is.
It's kind of a thankless
think
job, but you've been
it
really
is.
stepping
It
up
is.
and doing it.
And I'll tell you, Skip has put countless hours into that, and I appreciate it, and it's been successful too.
So with
Yeah.
that,
Do I have a motion?
So move.
second.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner Claypool?
Mm-hmm.
Commissioner Spitaleri?
Right.
Number 5 is your staff appointments.
Okay.
Do you want, we could probably go down to the last two. We could do your main staff and then all your director's positions. You want to do that all
Yeah,
together?
that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board appoint David Lair, County Administrator. Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board appoint Linda Berhenny, Director of Administrative Services. The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board appoint Christine Blair as the Clerk to the Commissioners, number 1306. The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve the following staff appointments. Chief Building Enforcement Official Michael Mulhallison, Director Department on Aging Jessica Bolt, Director Community and Economic Development and Fair Housing Anita Stocker, Director Department of Emergency Services Roger Peterson, Director Job and Family Services Craig Swenson under 124.11A22, Director of Maintenance Glenn Vernick, Director of Transportation Michael Casper under 124.11A25, Director of Water Resources and Sanitary Engineer Gerard Morgan, Director of County Home Superintendent Karen DeCola, and Dog Warden Matt Granito, and acknowledge those staff appointments as placed in the unclassified service pursuant to RC 124.11A3B, unless the two that I specified, and who are provided an unclassified service explanation and acknowledgement form.
Okay. So move.
Second, and I just want to make a brief comment. We're very fortunate to have the staff that we have. We have a lot of good people here, and I just wanted to recognize that as we're approving them to continue. Hopefully they will continue with it without any problem. We have a really good staff, so second with that.
Very good.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner Claypool?
Yep.
Commissioner Spitaleri?
Yep. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. All right, the next one is, you're going to stay on page 2 for another minute.
Okay.
Skip jumped ahead on me. The end of December, we had to have an emergency meeting for you guys to come in to have to approve a financial because Dave was out of town. And after talking with Laura, she made the suggestion, she asked me if you had ever appointed Linda as acting county administrator. And so this motion is asking you to appoint Linda to act as acting county administrator in the event that David Lair, county administrator, is unable or unavailable to perform those duties at any time during the year 2018 pursuant to ORC 305.30. That is up to you as to whether or not you want to do that or
I think
not.
it's a good idea.
And then that would allow her, if Dave is not here and I can't get a quorum and we absolutely have to have something done, that would allow Linda to act in that manner, and you can always amend that once you get your assistant county administrator.
And that's all the things that Dave has the authority and approval to do.
If I'm not available, she can do them.
And then she has to come in here on those snow days and the ice days. And
I'm feeling a little scratchy throat. So.
Yeah, no, it's a good idea. Okay.
And then the Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board appoint Deborah Ashburn to act as acting Commissioner's Clerk in the event that Christine Blair, Commissioner's Clerk, is unable or unavailable to perform those duties at any time during the year 2018, and further appoint David Lair, County Administrator, pursuant to ORC 305.30, to act as acting Commissioner's Clerk in the event that Deborah Ashburn is unable or unavailable to perform those duties at any time during the year 2018. This is so we have backup plans in place.
Okay.
So that would be those two together.
Okay, so moved.
Second.
Mr. Lennon?
Yes.
Mr. Claypool?
Yep.
Mr. Spitaler? You're good with that? Okay. And then the next one is to approve and execute resolution number 18-003, authorizing the county administrator to exercise powers delegated hereby under the ORC 305.30.
I'm sorry.
And we did not make any changes to this
Same, yeah,
resolution.
just that
It is the same as last year.
Oh, okay.
And this is under the direction and supervision of the board.
So I report on
Okay.
anything I do.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mr. Lennon?
Yes.
Mr. Claypool?
Yep.
Mr. Spitaler?
Right.
Commissioner's Office is requesting the board appoint Joe Cattell as drainage engineer and set the compensation at a biweekly rate of $397.67 effective with pay number 2 through pay number 25 and pay number 26 at $397.62 per the memorandum of understanding dated January 29, 2013.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Lennon?
Yes.
Mr. Claypool?
Yep.
Mr. Spitaleri?
Right.
Commissioner's Office is requesting the board appoint Richard Manley as county apiarist and further approve and execute the 2018 Ohio Department of Agriculture appointment for county apiary inspector form to be effective January 1st, 2018 at an hourly rate of $12.36 per hour and a mileage reimbursement rate of 54.5 cents.
How long has he been in that position?
About 3 years.
About 3 years. Everybody knows an apiarist inspects beehives. And this guy is very, very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So he
interesting.
guarantees we're going to have bees forever, huh?
Hopefully.
Well, he guarantees that he will pick up if there's any issues with the hives that he's allowed to inspect.
I was
Some
going to say
beekeepers,
bacteria and all these other things.
right? And he actually gave a presentation here a couple of years ago at a night meeting. It was very, very informative. And, as you can see, he doesn't get paid a lot of money,
Yeah.
so it's more of a labor of love. But counties are, by the Department of Agriculture, county commissioners are asked to try to recruit someone to be in this job, and not every county has one.
Huh.
And we're fortunate, at least since I've been here, we've had people step up and do that work.
Do you know if he's aware of the European white-faced or bald-faced hornet?
I don't know, but I
They,
would guess
they
he
are
is.
severe predators of honeybees.
Yeah, yeah.
Documentation of 18 of these hornets wiped out a hive of 40,000 bees in 3 hours.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And I actually got stung last year, almost this time, by one. It was in my wood. I brought it in. It crawled out of the wood before I threw it in the wood burner. It got in my shoe, and I stuck my shoe.
Ouch.
And I'll tell you what, I've never
They're
felt
nasty.
poison like that.
They're getting punched, yeah.
But
They're the
They-
ones that
they're-
are like this big.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
they're an inch to an inch and a quarter.
Wow.
They're huge. And I saw them that summer before flying around in my grass, and they were eating other insects.
Jeez.
And the close-up just showed this bald-faced hornet taking a bite out of a honeybee. Just took half the bee,
Jeez.
chewed it up, swallowed it.
Wow.
So if he's not aware of that, that's
Oh,
Who is their natural predator?
Yeah.
they don't have one.
Oh, that's not good.
No.
Yeah.
Not that I know of.
Ah,
You know,
I think some bird would.
that same hornet in Asia, they nest up in a tree, and they're vicious things. If the bees are disturbed at all, they come after the person, and you cannot get away from them, other than diving into water. And they kill people in Asia regularly. So I just,
Yeah.
point of interest.
Something else to worry about.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right,
Yeah.
so moved.
Second.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner Claypool?
We're-
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Commissioner Claypool.
Yes.
Commissioner Spudler. Commissioner's office is requesting the board appoint Gerard Morgan to serve as prevailing wage coordinator for Geauga County for 2018 and appoint Nicholas Goris to serve as prevailing wage coordinator for Geauga County for 2018.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner Claypool?
Yep.
Commissioner Spudler. The next one is just to establish the copy charges for this year. They are the same as they have been for the last couple of years, at 5 cents per black and white, until a charge reaches a minimum amount of $1, and then once it hits $1, then we'll start charging. So up until that point, unless it reaches $1, there's no charge.
The cost of doing the paperwork with collecting the money.
Is this for like records requests and such?
Yes.
or-
Yeah.
And then it's 20 cents per color, and then $1 for a compact CD.
Okay.
And we were having this conversation the other day about adding a flash drive, but we would have to figure out
what a fair price is.
a
given
fair
So here's a
price.
quick question in an effort for continuous improvement. Copying charges seems like something would be in a normal course of our business here, like make a resolution to approve this kind of stuff. So doing an annual or kludging up this annual approval process, is that necessary?
We can move it back to a regular. I mean, we could. This is just where you sign your annual stuff.
It just gets it out of the way, so there's a fixed price, everybody's treated the same way.
Do we have to do it annually, or can we not do it and then redo it when we need to, that kind of thing? Or?
I don't know. We have to see if the laws allows it to just stand in place until change. I don't know. We'd have to look at what the law.
I mean, it's not a big deal, but it just
No.
it adds a
Just
little
one more thing to
extra.
add. No, I'm good.
Yeah. So I mean, we haven't seen any major increases in charges per copy on our copy machines recently. So that's usually what drives the
Yeah, the per
the
copy cost, and and this cost, we're allowed to charge for the total cost of the copy, which is not only what the copying company charged us to maintain the machine, but also the depreciation on the machine and whatnot. Because what we pay to per click for the service and the toner and all that is not this high, but you have to include the paper and the depreciation on the machine. We've been very fortunate. The machines we have been here for a number of years, but at some point you got to replace them.
So, I mean, I'm just thinking that it seems a little out of place to me to be approving something like this. Could be in a normal meeting.
Yeah, we'd have
Just
just to see if that's something that we could just leave as is until the facts change.
Okay.
So with that, we need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner Claypool?
Yep.
Commissioner Spudler? Community Development is requesting the board reappoint the following members to the local revolving loan committee for a 2-year term ending December 31st, 2019. That includes Derek Adams, Debbie Mack, Lois Danku, Dave Dietrich, and Carolyn Mansfield with an alternate of Chris Hiscock. They're also asking that you acknowledge the following CIC appointments to that same local revolving loan committee, including John Solich and Katerina Coca-Fulton. They're also asking you that you reappoint the following members to the revolving loan committee for a 2-year term ending December 31st, 2019, including Debbie Mack, Lois Danku, Carolyn Mansfield, and Derek Adams, and requesting that you acknowledge the following CIC appointments to that same revolving loan committee of John Solich and Katerina Coca-Fulton.
Okay. So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner Claypool?
Yep.
Commissioner Spudler?
Hey.
And then they're also asking that you appoint Ralph Spitaleri with an alternate of Linda Burhenny, Walter Claypool, alternate David Lair, and Timothy Lennon, alternate Adrian Gorton, to the Tax Incentive Review Council for a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2020.
That motion?
Second.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner Claypool?
Yep.
Commissioner Spitaleri?
Hey.
They're asking that you acknowledge the appointments to the Tax Incentive Review Council of for outside representatives of Frank Leah Auditor, Dr. Brian Bontempo, Auburn Representative, Gerald Mitchell, for Troy Representative, Beth McCaffrey, Berkshire Local School District Representative, and Ken Zwolonsky, Troy Representative, for a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2020, to the same Tax Incentive Review Council. They're also asking that you appoint Ralph Spitaleri, alternate Linda Burhenny, Walter Claypool, alternate David Lair, and Timothy Lennon, alternate Adrian Gordon, to the Reinvestment Housing Council for a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2020, and acknowledge the Reinvestment Housing Council appointments of Dan Whiting and Ken Burnett, Burton representatives, Dave Dietrich and Colleen Sharp, Planning Commission representatives, for the 3-year term ending December 31st, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner Claypool?
Mm-hmm.
Commissioner Spitaleri? Okay. One more, and we're done. The Department of Job and Family Services is requesting the board approve the addition of Jim Ansbach and Josh Burton to the Maintenance Department Home Depot Commercial Credit Account. The Department on Aging is requesting the board approve the addition of Jessica Bolt, Robert Zabevitz, and Edward Shortridge to the Maintenance Department Home Depot Commercial Credit Account. And the County Home is requesting the board approve the addition of Karen DeCola to the Maintenance Department Home Depot Commercial Credit Account. And the Commissioner's Office is requesting the board approve the use of credit cards for the year 2018 and further authorize the President of the Board to execute the applications for authorization to permit use per ORC 301.27 for the Department on Aging, Building Department, Commissioner's Office, Community and Economic Development, County Home, Department of Emergency Services, Job and Family Services, Maintenance Department, Transit, the County Engineer's Office, the Common Police Court, the Probate Juvenile Court, and the Sheriff's Office, with not to exceed monthly amounts and for specific individuals listed as such in the attached sheet. And that is included in front of you through the rest of page 4, page 5, and page 6. And that lists out the individuals, the specific cards of use, and the not to exceed per monthly amounts.
Okay. No questions. Make that motion. Second.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner Claypool?
Mm-hmm.
Commissioner Spitaleri? Okay.
That's easy, but
I think that was one
That's
of
a
the
record for a reorg. Again, a lot of credit to Christie. She just knocked it down and continues to improve her process every year.
I try to make it as easy as possible on you guys.
I noticed that.
If you don't want to date them, you don't have to.
Yeah, that way you don't have to worry about it.
Okay.
These are all red stickers, it was all the president, right?
Except I need Ralph and Tim to sign where the yellow is. And that's for you to use the credit card for the Commissioner's Office. So if you want to sign here while you're signing.
Sorry. Some of these I've been sitting on. Investment, not the investment, sorry.
So
2 o'clock.
each one of
2
those.
o'clock.
So this is your staff
The reinvestment.
for the
So-
Commissioner's Office.
Okay.
So he has to
Jim,
sign those 3.
Yeah.
Those are good
I can
meetings,
get them
but
when
they
you're
have-
done, Ralph.
Okay.
I can get them later.
You already signed it. Have Tim sign his part there.
On all 3 of the Commissioners' pages.
Just that page there.
The,
Right here.
yeah, on this line here, and then on the preceding 2. That's for you, authorizing you to use the Commissioner's credit card when you travel.
Oh, okay. This one too?
Yeah. And then there's one more.
I think Skip signed those already.
Okay.
Yes. And then we're going back to Ralph.
Okay. That's it?
Yeah.
Yep.
So real quick,
Okay.
so I don't hold anybody up here, we have the Fair Managers Convention is in Columbus on the 7th, the 5th through the 7th. And then board revisions, 9 a.m. at the Auditor's Office on the 8th. ADP is also on the 8th. And then we've got the Planning Commission meeting on the 9th at 7:30.
And then you have regular session on the 9th, starting at 9:30 with your
9:30 here,
public
so-
hearing.
Okay. Any other questions or anything that anybody needed?
Do you want to tell them about the work session at Building 8 next Thursday? Or is that going to be?
That's going to be on the 11th.
On the 11th.
Yeah,
Oh, on the
Thursday
11th,
the
yeah.
11th. So
Thursday
you have
11th,
session on
yeah.
Tuesday, and then you have the feasibility work session to go over your findings, and it'll be
Okay.
in Building 8.
Are we gonna invite anybody to that, or is that just kind of just a normal work session? They wanted to be able to put it up on the big screen. That's why we're going down there.
Right.
Okay.
Well, anybody's welcome.
Well, yeah, but I didn't know if we were going to invite, elected officials or anybody for that.
Do you want to send a formal invitation to them?
What do you guys think? Are we there yet, or is this still?
I don't know. I've got mixed emotions on it. I mean,
Okay.
Right now, it's a work session for us to kind of, because we've not gotten into the meat of this yet.
Okay.
Everybody's welcome to attend.
Well, maybe
If we have a special, the only thought being, I mean, if spitballing this a little bit, if we invite other elected officials now, we're including them in the work session, it might get more complicated.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, everyone's allowed to
Everybody's
attend.
allowed to come.
But
work sessions aren't oftentimes open for public comment. It's our
Right.
work session, our ability to dig and to probe and so forth.
Well, and the other thing, I'm
Unless
not
we
sure,
decide differently, so.
they're splitting out of that final report the things that are, with specific security issues. So you guys
Right.
might end up having an executive session where you talk about that in detail, because
Right.
it's to do with building security.
Yeah, like
I
the
don't know if that's
specifics
gonna
of it.
happen.
I mean, we
Right.
can talk about building security, just not the specifics.
Yeah, I mean, you just say in general, because of all the entrances we have, it's challenging to keep everybody
Yeah.
secure. Everybody knows that. But
Right.
you start talking about, well, in this particular building, this is a vulnerability.
Right.
That's what you don't want to
Right.
necessarily be talking about
In the public.
in the public.
Yeah,
Right.
okay.
Yeah, but we reached out to the courts to see if they had any particular sensitivity, because sometimes we don't know, and
I do
So-
believe that the program of
well done.
requirements were sent to the departments.
Yeah, well,
for-
yeah,
for their
everybody who
comments.
responded got this is our program requirements. Like, I got the one for our office, so
Yeah.
I made a couple comments about, he didn't have some of the specific records that we do keep. He had minutes, but he didn't have like all your contracts, he didn't have the financial records or risk management records. So I just wanted to make sure it was clear in our program requirements that those are all records that we have to retain here in this office, not just commissioners' minutes.
And I think
And
the
that was
prosecutor
the
was supposed to review, or Laura was going to review that as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, everyone else was supposed to kind of, hey, this is what we've come up with, we think these are your requirements, give us feedback.
But I mean, she was going to review the entire thing as far as any.
Anything she felt was not
Yeah.
public.
Yeah, she asked me if they had a revised version of that yet, and I had sent her email to Ken, but she hadn't seen anything yet.
Okay.
Right.
All right, good.
And then
Looking forward to
the
it.
only other thing is with that zoning issue, I think that there's a certain number of days that we're supposed to, from the request date for that variance. I think there's like 20 days or 21 days that we have to give a response. So I talked to Dave a little bit about that. As far as, I think what we almost want to do is potentially look at actually a policy change that we might want to do within the county to
code of regulations, you mean?
yeah
As far as the requirement to have specifics in a deed.
Right.
That's what you're talking about.
just so that we don't have to have this kind of thing, brew up again with somebody just, I think that a lot of this stuff, people have just rubber stamped it over the past, and if that's something that you guys are comfortable with to be able to do that, have maybe Dave, if you can try to put that together, and then we'll just get that done for next week so that we could hope, we probably are not going to be within the time frame, but I don't think that they're necessarily pushing that issue, but at least we can get that put to rest and get that approval done and
Okay.
the variance figured out. But obviously it would be just easy to just change that whole protocol.
Yeah.
Right.
And to the extent you can. I understand, talking to each of you individually, I think everybody feels the same way, that if we have a lot of minutia that's right now by the regs you guys adopted that are in there that require recording on deeds, and we can simplify some of that. I think that's what you want to do.
I know that Carmela sent that over to the prosecutor's office for
Okay.
an opinion.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know, we'll
I will
probably get
check.
something.
Yeah.
And so,
I know, I mean, she dropped a letter off here at the office. Did we get that sent out? I mean, I've talked to her on my own, but I have not seen that letter that she dropped off here.
It should have been in your inbox.
It was, yeah.
Is it in the email?
It was
No.
No?
I don't think it was an email. It was a hard copy
Yeah, it was a
because
hard
that
copy.
was she
Okay.
came in at the end of session
Yeah.
in the envelope, and there was hard copies for each
Okay.
one of you
Okay.
in the envelope.
no, I had it scanned to my email. If you'd like, I can forward it.
Yeah, I was just like.
I had a hard copy on my desk.
Yeah.
That was when I was gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So I would be good with what you just said in terms of preparing a variance. I'm in favor of it. I'd still like to get the prosecutor's opinion for the long term to see what the impact of the code of regulations would be. So,
Okay. I want to bring up one other thing on Building 5. As you know, the OSU extension, Terry Worthington, the consumer program was discontinued by OSU, and so OSU vacated their section of the building here next door. It used to be the county engineer, and now the front part of the building is the Veteran Services, and would be the far side of the building in the back was CASA, and the side closest to our office in the back was OSU. And then we also have one office right off the corridor that we rent to Geauga Community Action, Bob Voss. So Juvenile Probate Court asked if it would be possible for the commissioners to allow the CASA operation to expand into some of that OSU extension. So I had a conversation, Glenn and I had a conversation with Kim Laurie the other day, and they agree with us. We're asking that we don't make any physical modifications of the building right now, just not knowing what's going on in the feasibility study. And that, so there's, right behind Geauga Community Action, there's two offices there that are on the far side of the door that were part of the OSU extension. We've asked, or I've communicated to Ms. Laurie, that the CASA Juvenile Probate Court not do anything with those two offices, but they could expand into the other part, which is right now empty and could be used for meeting rooms, conferences. There may be court-related functions going on there as far as visitation or conferences, but we've made it clear, and they agree there's not a need for any court-level security. It would just be additional meeting space for their folks to meet.
Okay.
So I wanted to make you guys aware of it.
And what's going on in there now? Nothing, right?
Right now, it's just, it's empty. There's actually some OSU stuff that still has to be moved out.
Yeah.
Glenn will probably work with OSU. Eric Draper, once the weather's a little better, to ship the rest of whatever that is out to OSU or have it disposed of.
Yeah.
To clear that space out.
Okay.
But that way, we're leaving these two offices here. Right now, there's a door. This is the door entryway that was created for OSU.
I don't know.
And if we were
I
going to
didn't know
formally
when they
make that
left.
change, we'd have to move the doorway, and I just don't want to spend the money on modifying that space if we don't have to.
No.
So we're just saying to the court and CASA, these two offices are going to be on your side of the door, but please don't do anything with them, because if community action should expand or there some other need came up, we might need those.
Okay.
And so they've agreed with that.
Okay.
Okay?
Sounds good.
All right?
Anything else?
nope.
Not this time. Any word back from NACOG on our proposal?
We've got a meeting next week.
Yeah, I thought I'd seen some communication where Craig had felt, because you had made the request, could you up that contribution a little bit to make it more worthwhile? And I thought I saw something from him saying they probably couldn't find the money in their budget.
They couldn't?
Well, he didn't say definitively. I was at the last meeting, and so he's still probing on that.
Yeah.
The feeling on the part of the board is a larger board. So the NACOG is the commissioners, that's the executive board. Then there's a large board, which is made up of businesses and so on and so forth. And so the businesses were wondering whether, because you have to, if you're going to have to take from somebody.
Well, that's the other thing I heard, is that
so-
if they somehow up the contribution to community economic development, that would be less money going to Geauga for the things that GFS is doing.
So there's still a discussion. I don't think there's anything definitive about it. But
Okay.
The feeling
That's
was
good.
not necessarily
Couldn't do this
positive. Let's put it
Oh,
that way.
okay.
Because just there's Portage County
No,
gets the
because of the way
majority,
that the
Ashtabula, and then we get kind of what's left over.
and staffing
I thought I'd give
changes.
it a try.
Yeah.
it's worth a shot.
Yeah.
Get to the next one.
Right.
You gotta ask, right?
I'll be
That's
back
right.
until next week. We'll get a definitive answer.
Yeah.
That's
Okay,
what Julie
okay.
Oakport was on updating theirs.
I guess while we're talking,
When
a
you
number
get to
of
the
counties
next one,
have
you'll see how
been
professional she was.
joining in the suit on the
Yes.
drug company thing, and
Yes.
I understand that you guys may be talking to an attorney. It might be good at some point in time to bring that conversation here. And,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
whatever your discovery happens to reveal.
Absolutely.
Might be
Instead of
good
redoing the
to
form, all
remove
she'd do
that
is
forward in
scratch
some
out
way,
his
shape,
name.
or form.
Yep.
I don't know if there's a
That's David
deadline
Becky.
or what the, see, as you guys are looking at that, you might.
There's,
update
you know,
us on.
from, I don't know if you guys, I've been approached by, a couple different, different law firm, this has become a real hot
I've been called
topic.
by probably 6 different law firms.
Yeah,
So.
and I guess there's a few ways to skin this cat, and there's some different theories and approaches, and one that I had, been approached by, I mentioned to our prosecutor, and he was interested in it and discussing it further with him. So we set up a meeting with these guys to go down, and he wants to hear it. And
I'll be there to let you guys know.
But then if
when
this
it-
thing
yeah.
gets any, if obviously we'll bring it to the board as soon as it, if there's anything
Right.
to talk about.
I reached out to Jim to get his opinion on it too. 'Cause
Yeah.
I know that, like you said,
Yeah.
each of the law firms think that they're bringing.
They have different
something.
approaches. Some say you
So-
file at the state level, some say you file at the federal
Right.
level, so that's kind of, we have to hear both sides.
Yeah, it'd be real interesting to find out what you discover in terms
Yep.
of what their unique approach is, or
Right.
what some of the other
Yep.
approaches are.
Right.
Hopefully we'll find out on
I
Monday, at least from
eliminated
that
one
one
whole
firm's
set of those.
perspective.
Yeah.
Good.
All right. Well, another year.
I reduced it by one
kick it on.
Yeah.
quarter of that.
Move to adjourn.
And then we're going to be switching, so I'll be.
You gotta change, all the stuff you have in those drawers there, you gotta change.
I always said that I needed a helmet to sit in the middle.
Yeah.
You guys take questions and comments?
Sure. Yeah. What's your name? I'm sorry.
Jim Finch.
Okay.
He moved to adjourn.
About the
Did we get a second or
NOACA,
no?
Go ahead.
I don't see how Geauga wins
I'm not.
with NOACA.
NOACA. Yeah.
And I've been doing some studying
Bless you.
on what NOACA is as an NGO, what they're doing, and
Thank you. Bless you.
I would suggest we get out of NOACA.
Mm-hmm.
We can't win. I don't know if we're going to lose money, but as far as I'm concerned, the long term, they're up to no good. And I would rather not be a part of something like that, even if there are some minor drawbacks to being not part. With Geauga County getting more representation, like the article in the paper stated, we're not going to win anything here. So my encouragement is let them go their way. Don't be part of it. So, and for your information, I'm on the board of the Red Tulip project, which we're trying to get some things squared away. We're having trouble with Clarendon Township.
Aw, thank
Trustees
you.
as far as rebuilding that building. But just inform you that we are working on it. We've got quite a few donations, and it does look like we're going to be viable to get that built.
Good.
There may be a land swap so that we're not tied to the trustees. That's in the works. So if we can be independent, then we can go forward at our own pace instead of worrying about the 208 and all that other stuff.
I see.
So yeah, we'd have our own.
What is it? Where is it? A house in Clarendon? Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's
an old-
the Clarendon Township trustees own it.
Oh, okay.
A couple of people on the board were raised in it. It's a 200-year-old building, and it collapsed.
Oh, jeez.
The foundation stones, we actually tried to pick the building up so we could repair it, and nobody knows for sure, but after the weight came off of it, the whole east wall collapsed.
Oh boy.
And so we had it looked at, and the opinion was that can't be repaired. So we tore it down, and we're going to start from scratch
Okay.
in the same spot. So
How many rooms will be in there?
there'll be rooms. There'll be 3 bedrooms. There'll be
Okay.
2 women per bedroom.
I see.
Plus a house mother. She'll have her own.
Yeah.
It makes them out 4.
Quarter. Yeah.
But my firm is actually doing the design on the septic, so we can determine whether we're viable to
I see. Yeah.
to get away from 208, which gives EPA authority. on it.
Absolutely.
So,
Right.
Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah. No, on your comment on NOACA, and I agree with your frustration. Sitting down there for a year, it's frustrating. It is. One of the big things I think we forgot to mention last when NOACA was here was the not only are we talking about 2 seats, but we're also giving up our ability to ratify or veto in the future, which I don't know why. That was the elephant in the room that nobody really discussed.
We do have a veto.
Yeah, well, we'd be giving that up, and that's kind of the underlying or the underbelly of this decision for Geauga County. For me, 2 seats, throwing that is like a tic-tac-toe whale, too.
Yeah, with the numbers they have.
Right. So the 2 seats doesn't bother me, but certainly giving up our ability to veto or to ratify, that's a deal breaker.
Well, that's kind of like the United States and the UN,
Yeah.
Keep our membership so we can veto like they did on the Israel thing.
Yeah.
Well, and let me add on to that comment, and Tim's right. It's not just us losing the right to ratify, it's all counties losing the right to ratify when it has to do with the balance of membership. And so that change significantly opens the door for future other changes because you're taking the ratification of membership off the table. And so that's we've gotten advice that that's not a good thing to do, and just logically. But the other thing is I just reread the bylaws and the bylaw change. The bylaws actually say that the intent is to have an approximation to population, not a specific number, but an approximation. And so if you read the current wording, it says an approximation by population. And so they cross that out, and it will be very specific by this very complex formula. The approximation to population is what they stipulate. So every county now has stipulated a seat, and we've got 3 commissioners now stipulated in the contract. Other counties were given the latitude to put whoever they want to in the seat. We have 3 specific county commissioner seats. And so it's a nuance, but an important one in the decision process. So, it wasn't something we entered into lightly. I know from my own perspective, like Tim, I struggle with this back and forth because sometimes you think, why even go through the headache and the hassle of arguing with these guys? But we have to protect the interest of Geauga County, and I think that decision does that to the extent we can. So, but I appreciate your comment, and it's that whole relationship there is very.
I appreciate you
If we
being
veto something to protect ourselves, then I guess I would reverse my opinion. But what a mess.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you're interested, but NOACA and all NGOs,
NPOs.
NPOs.
NPO, Metropolitan Planning Organization. And by the way, if
but
you
they
don't,
are an NGO, non-governmental organization. Am I correct?
right, that's correct.
Okay. I'm speaking of NGOs in general. Have an agenda to promote what's called Agenda 21 from the UN, which is an insidious thing that in my research, if you don't mind my bringing other references, but there are prophecies in Daniel that says that at the end there will be a covenant made with many that will last for 1 week. 1 week in the Hebrew is 49 years. Agenda 21 started in 1972. It matures in 2021. And the research I've seen is that the objective is to control our population through water. And I first dealt with this probably 20 years ago in designing septic plans and there was where the boundary from a river. Can't pull out the word.
Watershed?
No, it's riparian setbacks. We started working with that. That was the beginning of non-governmental organizations and Agenda 21 through the UN trying to control what we do as the population, where, because it says if you have a house that is within 100 feet of a waterway, they can make you tear your house down. They will eventually, by everything I've read, control even private water wells, in that you either have a permit or you don't have a well. But the philosophy is water is supreme, and you do not interfere with where water goes. It's ridiculous. But it's a call them what you want. The people who think they're better than all the rest of us that want to tell us what to do, they're going to try and do it with water. And these NGOs and Agenda 21 are very much a part of that, in my opinion. So I would suggest we not take these people lightly, and we keep some kind of control. And if we can get a veto, keep a veto, I think that might be far more important than anything else. Just like the U.S. with the UN staying in it to veto it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thanks for paying attention. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
hey, and if you want to talk further,
Yeah.
Like I say, it's a scary thing.
Yeah.
Like all prophecy, it's like, okay, how do you interpret it? But this seems to be very, very pertinent. Thank you.
Great.
Thanks, Jim.
All right. So moved.
Okay. Very good.
10-10.
Great. All right.